It's Wednesday, the 21st of April, 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, iron ore prices hit a new record, setting up a financial boom for the big miners and the federal budget. Plus, the Reserve Bank takes an interest in climate change as the Prime Minister gets ready to meet global leaders on the issue. Buy Now, Pay Later group Afterpay considers listing on Wall Street, and why sales of Porsches are surging. Our lead story today, iron ore prices hit a new record yesterday of almost $182 a tonne, as the country's largest iron ore miner reported record exports. Rather than a slowdown in production as a result of Chinese factories cutting back on carbon emissions, demand for the first 3 months of 2021 was stronger than last year, according to Rio Tinto. Helping Rio and the two other major iron ore exporters, BHP and Fortescue Metals, is weakness in exports from Brazil's Vale, the main global competitor in the market. According to stockbroker Shaw & Partners, the iron ore miners' profit margins are now higher than during the mining boom more than a decade ago. The booming price of iron ore will also have a significant impact on the country's bottom line. Budget forecasts have iron ore prices around 1/3 the current level. Australia has once again benefited from a boom in commodity prices, and the big miners and their shareholders have gained most. It isn't going to last forever. Chinese policy is focused on consumer incentives rather than fixed infrastructure. But while it does, Australia needs to take advantage of it. In overseas news, Chinese President Xi Jinping yesterday took a swipe at the United States and its allies, saying China would never engage in hegemony or an arms race regardless of its power. Mr. Xi warned of the importance of a multilateral trading system and was critical of the US for bossing other people around. The COVID crisis in India continues with 6 days running of over 200,000 daily new infections reported. Hospitals around the country have reported running out of everything from oxygen to beds. India's share market is now at its lowest level since January, while the currency, the rupee, is the worst performing unit in Asia this month. And luxury brands have made a comeback around the globe. While it seemed somewhat poor taste to splurge too much during the pandemic, sales at luxury brand Gucci jumped 25% during the first 3 months of 2021 compared to a year earlier. Sales of Yves Saint Laurent products were up by a similar amount, while market leader LVMH last week reported better than expected turnover. Locally, the Reserve Bank of Australia will place a greater emphasis on climate change and its effects on the economy and financial stability. In the central bank's board minutes released yesterday, it said that members had agreed to a broader discussion on the implications of climate change. The minutes came alongside a renewed push from global leaders to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. US President Joe Biden will lead a virtual climate summit this week. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said Australia was already doing the heavy lifting to lower domestic emissions and will beat its 2015 Paris commitments. He will today commit around $500 million in additional funds towards developing hydrogen and carbon capture and storage technologies. On day 2 of the travel bubble with New Zealand, a worker at Auckland Airport has tested positive to COVID-19. The worker cleaned planes that had arrived from countries with high infection rates and was vaccinated, though clearly that didn't protect him from the virus. It won't be enough to burst the bubble though, but it does demonstrate the need to get people vaccinated as soon as possible. Buy Now, Pay Later group Afterpay is preparing to list in the United States, probably on the NASDAQ, as its North American business continued to grow and outstrip its Australian and New Zealand operations. Media reports said plans for a US listing were well advanced, though it isn't clear what it means for the local listing. Afterpay is among the best performing stocks on the ASX. Over the past year, it's up 330%. Superannuation funds are in line to return double-digit earnings for the 2021 financial year. Research house Chant West said the median growth fund had returned 12.2% for the first 9 months of the year and was up 2.2% in April. Latitude Financial finally listed on the ASX yesterday after 2 aborted attempts. The $2.6 billion float did well with its share price finishing up 4%. Chief Executive Ahmed Fahor, who used to run Australia Post, said he was grateful to the people who had gotten the company, finally, to the listing stage. The Queensland Government said it will demolish the Gabba Stadium in Brisbane and replace it with a $1 billion 50,000-seat arena. The city has been nominated as a preferred city to host the 2032 Olympic Games. And what to do if you've got a few 100,000 lying around and you can't travel overseas for the winter? Well, it seems you buy a Porsche. The CommSec Luxury Car Sales Index showed turnover up for the fifth successive month in March. There were 8,898 luxury cars sold, of which 574 were Porsches, the second best month ever for the manufacturer in Australia. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today we talk to Latika Burke, an Australian journalist in London, about the UK's reopening after COVID lockdowns. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.